If you have not noticed and you've been ignoring the Hive Fruit inside of Grow a Garden, now I do know a lot of people have been doing this, considering when this came in, this was probably one of the worst plants you could get. Now, considering that this was, you know, a high rarity, but literally had a horrible sell value. As you see, this is a divine rarity plant, yet it was one of the worst freaking things in the whole game. Now, obviously, this led to plenty of speculation on why does a divine rarity plant have a worse sell value than some basic generic uncommon or rare crops that you can just buy whenever. Now, this obviously is understandable, but today I'm going to be going over the buff changes that the Hive Fruit did have and why you need to start incorporating this into your main grinding strategy, how you can grind it effectively, and everything obviously and around that. Now, I'm not talking about a basic buff. We are looking at something that has very much increased the Hive Fruit base sell value by probably around 500% or more. And to put this in basic speculation, if you want to check out, I have a website with a crop value notifier, or not notifier, but a crop sell value. Now, this does have, obviously, I try to update it. I think I might have, I can't really remember, but the Hive Fruit, yeah, so it still says 6,000. This is the original sell value in base kilogram, was a 7.6 kg at a 6.3 thousand sell value. This is horrible, considering this is a divine rarity from one of the newest best event items you could probably get. This rarely comes in shop. It seems rare, right? But no, you don't have it, right? Now, what we're going to be looking at, though, is the fact that this thing's sell value has increased so dramatically that I genuinely think this thing rivals even the Candy Blossom when it comes to the accessibility you can get from it, and then it's just in general like. Now, what we're going to look at is the farming money method around this. Now, obviously, you want to know how to get this, so this is the way you could probably grind this effectively. But so the Hive Fruit seeds are obviously available in the seed or in the Queen's Bee shop, which you can access via the honey trading system. Now, how you get honey? Obviously grow high weight crops. So unlike the bloodlet and moonlit mutation with the lunar track, this actually goes off of the actual size value of the crop rather than its, you know, rarity, which I do like, because this does once again render more people even lower value, not value, lower tier of a player. So if you're more of a beginner, you can actually do this same equivalent to anyone else can, because the actual thing that affects the progression is rather the kilogram rate, rather than having, you know, like a beanstalk. Because like beanstalks are the highest rarity in the whole game, and these traded in for so much. But obviously a lot of people didn't have these, especially new beginners. But then you have like this basic, you know, moon melons were very common. You can get things like bamboo that can grow really big and have high kg. And these things are more normally obtainable. And with this though in mind, this is something I genuinely think is a great change for once with the base or like core mechanic around the game. Now, obviously, once you grab up, you know, you get the pollinated mutation, you can, if you are first starting off, wait every hour. As you see, it's active right now, these bee swarm event. So pretty much these bees, as you see, are going to come out of this. They're going to go into your garden and pollinate a plant. Now, as you see, a fruit in your garden mutated to pollinated. This means a plant has been mutated by a bee. With the pollinated mutation, it was that one right there, and it's going to come back in, and then it's going to go right back in there, and then boom, you should see its little face. Yeah. Now, what we can do is claim these pollinated plants. So back over in my garden, I can try to pull up some of these. I think I grabbed a few. Now, what these ones are going to do is this mutation is allowing me to trade this in pretty much. So I should have enough to go back over to this thing and compress it with honey. Obviously, if you already understand this, you can just, you know, click the arrow key or double tap your screen, you know, get further into the video. But I'm gonna just show you the pollinated. So this beanstalk is over 10k kg. So they are going to implement a system that I believe makes this faster soon. I hope maybe in the midweek, so tomorrow or so. But this is something to note. This will take about 3 minutes, meaning you can trade in around 20 times, or for about 40 of these pollen things, I believe, an hour. If that math is correct, I don't know. Anyways, though, that is the base system you're gonna look at. You're gonna get 10 of these each time. Now, I believe that math was wrong. I just feel like it's probably wrong. My math is not great. Then the only things that are consistently in shop is not the honey walkway, not the honey torch, but it's the honeycomb decoration. Now, this sucks because the flower seed pack is never consistently in shop. Rather, the other crap is, but this is completely fine. But once you have obtained a Hive Fruit, right, I would recommend getting like at least 3 to 4 of these just for a good base level. Now, the next thing we're gonna be looking at is with this though, what you can do is, you know, place down your Hive Fruit. I've already placed it down. I do believe this is going to be one of the more better plants in the game now. So once you have placed it down, obviously, you want to incorporate the base, you know, planet, but you do want to try to use the sprinkler method, obviously, to increase its base cell value. So once you have placed it down, this restocks every hour of the B shop. This doesn't guarantee this thing coming in shop. I've only bought it once. It's not a common thing to obtain, but it is still nonetheless very good. Same with Way. If you are wanting to get the other plants from the game, I am giving away a 10 pack in the 1700 Robux one. I'm giving away this on a giveaway for this video, and to enter, all you got to do is subscribe and comment your username down below. Fairly simple. I'll check if you're subscribed after you comment your username, obviously, to enter you into the, the poll, right? But make sure you do that because I am giving away these, and this is a limited time giveaway, so make sure you do that. And the next thing we're going to be looking at is how much you can guess to make on this. So, earlier as shown on my website, I do need to probably update that. This was selling for a grand total of about 6,000. That is horrible considering bamboo probably sells for that much. Now we have this wet Hive Fruit, which is lower than the actual base kilogram weight, which was 7.4. And this single piece is going to sell for 1,000. Does that number sound familiar? You know what the same sell value plant is of 90,000? You know what plant sells for the same as 90,000? Yeah, the candy blossom also sells for 90,000. So if you've ever seen the people that are farming absurd amount of money using some huge mutated candy blossom, now you can do that as well. And this is not like a unobtainable, unimaginable feat. Obviously, those people probably had like admin event, weather event, all this crap on it, but this is not an obtainable feat anymore, making trillions, because due to this thing, you could genuinely start to make literal hundreds of billions off of this one plant alone. Now, I'm gonna head back on over to my website real fast just to show you some basic mutations you could get on this. Now, obviously, once again, say you use the sprinkler method, just get like very high kilogram weight on this thing. Now, obviously, this isn't accurate, so I should probably be better off using a calculator. So we're going to be looking at, actually, I should probably just use this button right here. So if we're looking at a 20 kilogram one, right, this one is going to be 90,000 times 3, the base sell value, so 270,000. So we're gonna be looking at a 270,000 base sell value. Then we're gonna multiply this by the 10 if you get this frozen. Then we're gonna multiply this by, I believe shocked is a, yeah, so the shocked is a 100x. So then you add on the 100x to this. No, I did that wrong. So it's the 21700 times the 100x. Now this thing is worth 270 million, right? Now you then multiply this by, say, if you get pollinated, which is I think a 2x. So then it's worth 540 million. No, this is basic math, I believe. Now this thing is worth 540 million, half of a billion by itself. Now, say there's some admin event ran, right? And you happen to get, for obviously an example, Celestial, right? Say they run that, or say they run like Disco, which has the 125x. So times 125x, as you see, that's when the numbers start to drastically increase. Now, I don't think it will increase by that rate. Once again, though, actually, I do think we could calculate the sell value of this thing via using a candy blossom, because once again, this sells for about the same thing. So if we're looking at this thing being 3 times the sell value, we can just do this, take this number and then multiply it by 3. That is not what I meant to do. Multiplied it by 3. Then we take this thing multiplied by 3, which is 8.55. This number, 8.55, is now what we're looking at, 812,000, meaning 3 times base sell value, that number. So what we're then going to look at is the fact now, once again, this probably is incorrect math. I don't care. This is just to estimate shocked, frozen, right? Pollinated, right? If potential, say you get Disco on this thing, and then, this thing's, a rainbow variant, and then say this thing weighs this much, right? Now it's worth that much money. You get what I'm saying, right? My math is probably inaccurate the first time, but regardless, that is the value of this plant that we're going to be looking at. This is genuinely absurd. I do think that calculator might be inaccurate on the math, the way it does the math, because I don't think it's like the number is stacked onto the base value. I do believe that the base sell value is like the increase like that. Regardless, though, you can genuinely start to make literal billions with this, and this is a new buff, so you do need to make sure you take advantage of this. And with that, though, thank you so much for watching. And